and made your paycheck go be less valuable. It meant like the prices are going up because of government-induced spending, of government spending that results in inflation. So now it's just very important to connect those dots, because people they think maybe the supermarket's taking advantage of them, and they're not. You can look at the financials of the supermarket; they have 2% margins. It's got nothing to do with price gouging of the supermarket. It's just that the government spent too much. That increased the money supply and diluted the value of somebody's paycheck, and that's why the prices go up at the grocery store. So, but the good news is, if we solve government overspending, and the money supply grows at the same rate as the output of goods and services, there will be no inflation, and the prices in the supermarket now will be the same as the prices in the supermarket in a year, and that's a super big deal, and that really affects people's lives. That's what we're aiming for. And we're going to do everything possible to succeed in that goal.
And I think every dollar saved, the problem you just mentioned, Elon, is exactly why 10-year interest rates on U.S. Treasuries are persistently going up. Even if the government's trying to make them go down, the market's bidding them right back up.
Yes.
But conversely, for every hard dollar actually saved, right? So how many ever billion it was in the first 2 weeks, there's actually, it's almost like a 2-to-1 saving, because that means that the interest rate that lenders to the U.S. government charge will go down at a time when the interest rate payment itself on our national debt is one of the biggest items of our federal budget. So that automatically comes down for every one of these other savings.
Exactly.
And the only thing to be presented as a coherent plan, which I think you're already beginning to do, that alone, I think, will have a 2-to-1 savings for every dollar that's actually hard dollar that's actually saved, because you get the interest cost next year that comes down as a consequence as well.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point you just made, Vivek. I just want to basically repeat that and reiterate that for the audience. When you actually get a double benefit when you bring down government spending, and there's a very important double benefit, which is that you stop inflation and interest payments go down, because the government is no longer borrowing money. So if the government is borrowing money, it's actually competing with everyone else to borrow money, and that drives up the interest rate. So if we solve government spending, in a nutshell, your grocery bill stays the same, your mortgage payment goes down, and your car payment goes down, and your credit card bill goes down.
Exactly.
I think that's what the people of America want, obviously.
Yeah,
and that's
I couldn't
a good
agree.
goal.
I couldn't agree. It's really important. And I'm sitting here tonight in Iowa, and I took my mom to church this morning, and man, everybody at church, we all stand around afterwards and visit, and everybody's just really excited about the opportunity that the new administration is bringing, because costs are just through the roof for people in my neighborhood in Southwest Iowa. It's hard. These are folks just getting up every single morning, trying to do their job and do the best. And yet we as a government have failed to listen to their needs, and then to be able to cut the spending at the federal level to make sure that their taxes stay low, and make sure that we are paying down our debt. No more deficit spending. Let's try and balance this budget as best we can. And we've heard plans from Ron Johnson and others in the Congress, but we've really got to get serious about it, because every one of my constituents owes $67,000 to our national. That's outrageous.
And it's getting worse over time. So really, if we don't do something about it, America's going to go bankrupt. That's a fact. So we must do something about it. It's imperative. Senator Mike Lee, I see you've joined. Would you like to add something to this conversation? You've got some great stuff as well to talk about.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks so much for the invitation. Look, I see this as an inflection point. Every 75 to 90 years in Anglo-American history, we've seen a major upheaval. We had one in 1776, another one in 1861, another one in 1937. 2025, we're due for one. And I think that's going to be the Doge revolution. And I think it has to be about much more than just the individualized, wasteful spending pet projects. At the core of all this is a fundamental ailment, which is that we've missed the purpose of the United States government. It's supposed to be about just a small handful of things: weights and measures, trademarks, copyrights, and patents, regulating interstate and foreign commerce.
The founders of the country it would blow their minds that the federal government has gotten so gigantic and is interfering with people's lives in so many ways.
That's exactly right. And then we've compounded the problem once we lost track of what the federal government's purpose is. We put the wrong branch in charge of the wrong responsibilities. We've been making most of our law, 100,000 pages a year, through the executive branch, which the Constitution says you can't do. It says you cannot make a federal law unless you go through both houses of Congress and then give it to the president. So we've destroyed federalism and separation of powers. I think for Doge to succeed, we have to restore both of those. In my view, the best way to start is by passing the REINS Act, which